Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the One of Us podcast. We're so excited for this one. So today we have Vic, Juan, and Tati, the usuals, as you guys all know good and well. Today we're going to be talking about gossip, specifically how you respond to gossip as a Christian, how to navigate that within the church, outside of the church. And so I'm really interested to talk about this because I feel like this is maybe one of the areas in Christianity that people don't really see as that much of an issue, right? Or you kind of sweep it under the rug, or you can classify it as like just chatting or just wanting to pray for someone. So I think there's a lot of nuances and levels to the onion here. So I'm interested what you guys think about it. So first and foremost, what is gossip? How would you guys define that?
I would say gossip is when you're talking about anybody and everybody and you're sharing some type of personal information about them or maybe something that went down with them and you're just have zero intention of protecting their image and wanting to resolve the issue, whatever it may be, and you're just wanting to maybe talk negatively about them. So that's kind of how I see gossip.
So I looked up the definition and it refers to casual or informal talk or rumors often about other people's private lives that may not be based on verified information. Gossip can be neutral, malicious, and depends on the intent and the context.
Yeah, I think a lot of time it's the intent, right? Like, what is your motivation? Make someone seem like evil or, focusing on certain faults or failures.
For me, I think a lot about Ephesians, I want to say 4:29, where it says, "Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good to build up as fits the occasion." It's not really like you're building an image of someone who isn't there. And I think that's why gossip is so wrong, because the person can't really defend themselves, even if it's something that you think might be good. Like, I remember one time I was talking about Arturo to somebody in college, and I was telling him, like, yeah, Arturo's just like crazy. He's funny. He's like off the walls. He jumps around. He has all this energy. He invades personal privacy, and he just does funny pranks. And I say all that stuff, and to me and I guess our friends, that's really lighthearted. That's like, oh my gosh, that's Arturo. Like, he's amazing. But me saying that without him having a chance to defend himself now labels him as this guy who's a prankster who invades personal space. So even though it comes from a place of good, I think the aspect is that they're not there to defend themselves, and I'm trying to define them without really doing them any justice. I'm not building them up. I'm just kind of tearing their image down.
Where do you think people learn to gossip? Like, why has that become such a thing, like in the middle school years and as you go into high school? Why is that so common, do you guys think?
I would probably say that it's a way to kind of build your reputation. I think sometimes there's this pride and comparison that we want to be better, so let me tell everyone about what this person's doing and how worse they are than I am and how I'm better and how I would handle the situation. And because in middle school, you're wanting to be friends, you're wanting to be popular. How do you do that? Trying to be the coolest person. And so you want to talk about these things to make people kind of talk about you. So I think it kind of builds people up like, look at what this person is doing. But I'm better, and now that we're talking about it, you're better than this person too, and it kind of just creates this negative cycle.
So I actually read this paper from, I think it was published by Stanford School of Business. So it's talking about like why is gossip used, and instead it was used as a social tool to basically gain a one up or kind of gain like an understanding of an individual without actually interacting with them, which I think is ultimately wrong. Like, no matter the situation, you should always want to try and interact with the person you're talking about. I think talking behind people's backs isn't really Christ-like. I mean, if you think about it, like, you have to remember the Pharisees were trying to gossip about Jesus behind his back, saying, "Oh, how is he doing what he's doing?" Or like, "Oh, how is he making that man walk? By sorcery?" And Jesus would like address them directly. So I think a lot of times it's like trying to use this tool to gain an understanding of someone without interacting with them, when in reality you should be just interacting with them one on one.
So I have a follow up question because I feel like these two terms can get mixed up, or people will use one of these terms to justify. So let me start with this question. What are your opinions on venting? What if someone's not gossiping, they just want to vent about a situation?
My advice is, why don't you vent to God and not gossip?
I think it's also maybe it's more specific. Like, does it relate to your own personal life, or is it entirely someone else's personal life?
So let's say, give it a hypothetical, and let's say that it's your personal life. Like, there's something that's going on between, and let's use it. This is a community group. Let's say a group of friends. There's 6, 7, 8 of them. 2 of them are having a hard time, and they're going and talking to their other friends because they're all friends and venting. And they don't have the intention that they're trying to talk negatively. It's just something happened, and they are like, I just need to get this off my chest. What are your thoughts on it?
Is your motivation, a lot of times in those situations, is your motivation to, seek advice, to have someone like speak over that area in your life and maybe offer, some wisdom of next steps or how to reconcile or how to just be brothers and sisters in Christ with that person? I think that would be different than just slamming someone and moving on. My personal opinion, you have to have like a trusted source and a tight knit community, right? Even Jesus had that. Out of his disciples, he had like the core 3, which he did life with a little bit closer. And I guess when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking like, if those closest people in your life are supposed to be walking alongside you, encouraging you, rebuking you, correcting you, if they don't know how to encourage, correct, and rebuke, then they can't really do what they're doing. But as you're doing life with one another, you're going to know about things that is going on in each other's lives that relates to you personally, right? That's affecting you personally. And so I think having those conversations with a motivation to encourage, even to correct and rebuke and restore one another, I think that is godly. And it's the whole point of bearing one another's burdens, right? And so fulfill the law of Christ, Galatians 6:2. I think it's different, like I said, if you're just, maybe it's someone outside of that circle that you're just venting and moving on and have no desire to receive correction or encouragement.
Yeah, I was just thinking about what I said in a previous episode. It's kind of like the intention behind doing it, because then you could say the same argument. You can argue that therapy is wrong, which I don't think therapy is wrong. Therapy, people talk about their problems. If it's something that is going to kind of like heal you, and I know for me, when I go through really like rough patches, I do tend to vent about the same stuff, but it's more about of a healing process. But if you're talking about something to just be like, can you believe so-and-so did this? Like, what a rat. Like, versus, oh my gosh, like, this is what I went through. Even with pastors, you could tell pastors things to like pray and help you and make decisions. You just have to think like, is this fruitful? Is this helping me, or someone else heal through something? Because I think it's easy to kind of merge those two together when they're slightly different.
And I think there's like a line too, like it can be a slippery slope. I think it is good and godly, like I've said, to have conversations with people and really do be authentic, be transparent, and be true with the people, your close, safe, trusting people. And to seek prayer. I mean, how else? Think about like prayer circles, prayer gatherings. How else are you going to ask for prayer but like to share what's going on in your life, to share the burden on your heart, to share your testimony? That's all about sharing. But really, I think you got it right, Tati, with it's your intention. And so if you're using prayer as an excuse to gossip, don't do that. But if you're really seeking like prayer, wisdom, guidance, or to just share with one another, I think that is good and positive. But I think the people who are gossiping know what they're doing, and it's a source of maybe manipulation for a reason, to attain pity, to attain, like you were saying, Vic, to step on someone's head so you can get higher, to compete in some way, to want to be, people who are doing that know what they're doing that. And it's important to take a self-evaluation, right, in each of our own lives, of being like, hey, why am I sharing this? You know what I mean? Am I trying to like finesse a little bit or manipulate a little bit? And you know yourself, and then be honest and move from there. But as we're a community podcast, we encourage people to have community, and have a tight knit of community of people to to really do life with authentically.
So, what is what you guys would say is the worst gossip about you guys that's ever been said? Let's trauma bond a little bit.
That's actually a question that I have. I was like, has gossip ever been damaging in your guys' life? But I'll think for my life as well.
Honestly, I have the worst memory, so I don't remember. But if you guys ever heard anything of me, just let me know right here. It's tea time.
I think I just thought of an instance. I won't get too specific on here, but there has been times in my life where I've had a friend who, you know, shared gossip that was untrue, and then to attempt to kind of get at the foundation or kind of try to shake up other relationships that I had. And so I think that's something that gossip can do as well, right? As Tati said in her definition, it can be based on untruth, right? On something completely false and falsified. And a lot of times people are trusting, and so when they hear that information they think of it as true, and it affects other people's relationship with that person. So I think being careful in that area, I'm like, is this going to negatively affect other things? But my advice to people whenever you receive information is to take it for a grain of salt, in the sense of like, if you hear something, go to that person and double check before you take it as truth. And so that, I guess that's an instance in my life.
I can't say I've had anything that extreme. Will say, like, back in high school, I was really good friends with this one girl, and there was another girl that she was friends with, but I wasn't too crazy about her. We were chill, but I could definitely tell she did not like me, and she made it very known.
Wait, I don't
She
mean to
didn't.
interrupt. Is this one of those girls where you said that you saw her in college and you're like, oh my gosh, hey? And she's like, I don't know who you are?
No,
Okay, sorry. I thought this was that girl.
no. That
That's
was
a
something
different
else.
trauma.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Thanks, Juan. Um, no, but I was really good friends with this one girl. We'll call her Amy, and we'll call the other one Brittany. Amy and I were really good friends. Brittany did not like the idea that she had to share Amy. And so I didn't think anything of it because we would all hang out together, all this stuff. Well, Amy one day was asking me questions like, hey, do you know this about me? Do you know this about me? And I was like, and some of the things I knew and some of the things I didn't know. And she goes, oh, well, Brittany got, 8 out of 10 of these right, and you only got like 5 or 6. And I was like, well, we just didn't talk about them. But I was like, but I know things about you. Like, I know the type of person you are, and I care about you and stuff. And this girl, Brittany, had ended up convincing Amy that I didn't care about her, that I wasn't a good friend, that I was unsupportive, that if something happened, I wouldn't be there, and all this stuff. So the relationship ended up dying. I told her, I was like, hey, those things are not true. This is the actual truth. You can take it or leave it. And she decided that she didn't want to be friends after that. And I'm sure there's more. I'm having a hard time, honestly, remembering a lot of it. That was very hard because she was a really good friend of mine and I had made so many memories with her. And it was right before I was going to college. So it was really unfortunate. And I ended up actually reaching out a couple weeks later and I was like, hey, if there was anything I did or said, I genuinely am sorry. And she said okay, but the relationship died after that. But that was my story.
Yeah, and I think it just, like we've been saying, it goes to show how like serious it can be, and maybe it seems small or minute in the moment, but it can leave lasting effects a lot of times. And um even like it's a serious thing to God. So I just wanted to read Romans 9:29 through 30. This is where God is listing out all of these things that just God hates, essentially, like that has the Lord's wrath. And it says, they are filled with every kind of unrighteousness, wickedness, covetousness, malice. They are rife with envy, murder, strife, deceit, hostility. They are gossips, slanderers, haters of God, etc., etc. And just how gossips is on that list next to people who are murderers, next to people who are wicked, who do all sorts of evil. And so it's really important to kind of know how to handle this. So I wanted to move it into a time of maybe talking about, what do you do to avoid gossip? through your own life or receiving it?
I'll say this is something that I have done. I think one, you have to know the person. So I'll say within my own family, sometimes with my parents, they want to gossip to me about the other spouse. And at the time, I would give advice and I would say, oh, do this, do that, or I just listen. And sometimes, and for each situation, it's different. But for this one, I just would have to shut it down, where I had to be very bold and just saying, I don't want to listen to this. This is not right. And if you're having issues, you need to go talk to an unbiased professional who will help you solve this issue. But I can't stand here and have you tear down this person's image in front of me and expect me to be okay with it. Obviously, my view of them was not corrupted, but I didn't want it to get there because I wanted to protect our relationship. So I think sometimes you just have to learn to really quickly shut it down.
I think when you're receiving the gossip, I think the best thing you can do is because it's hard. Like sometimes, you don't know if someone's just venting, but I think once that conversation starts turning into breaking down or destroying somebody's image, I think it's important to kind of stop and remind each other that like, we don't need to go there. Let's continue the conversation without destroying that person's image.
Yes, I think kind of what you got at, Victoria, is this idea of like calling it out, and also what you were saying, Juan, like redirecting the conversation. And you don't have to call it out and like also be like rude or like weird. Like when someone's talking to you, you're like, no, you're gossiping, I'm not going to talk to you. Like that's a little too much. But you can do that in like more subtle ways, being like, hey, like what you did, Vic, like I think this is a better conversation for X, Y, and Z person. Or how about you go to that person and I think you should really talk to them about this. Do you think there are certain people who delight in drama? Do you think that's a part of the gossip piece as well?
100%.
Look at all the reality TV shows. People love it. I'll be
think
honest.
some of those are staged.
Okay,
How do you know what's good for me?
That's my opinion. Look, okay, I'll be honest. They're 100% staged. Not a shout out, but definitely a shout out. Love is Blind, newest season. Good stuff. But some of that stuff, I'm like, we're setting these people up for failure to create the drama, to create the tea and get people gossiping and get people talking. That's what they do.
But why do you think the tea is so hot and so many people want to know the tea?
That's a good question. If our viewers, if you have an answer, we'll come back and we'll have you on and you can tell us.
Yes, I want to know, people. Please put in the comments, like, what makes the tea so spicy, so piping hot? Like, why is that entertaining?
It could be that sometimes like our lives just become like a drag. We get into this routine. We're living this day-to-day life. Like we go to work at 9, we come home at 5, we cook dinner, we go to the gym, we clean, do our laundry. And sometimes we're like, we just need a little oomph. So let me watch these people that are acting up.
I think it's because it's drama, but it's not our drama. So we just like view it from afar.
Well, I think, we talked about this in a previous podcast about like what media you entertain yourself with. And I think if you're consuming a media that's filled with gossip, it's could be like on the equal playing field of like people who consume media that's filled with violence. Like some people enjoy violent like consumption of media. And I think that if you're consuming a media that's filled with gossip, it's equally as wrong.
Was Victoria just called out? No, I'm just kidding.
Not me saying like, dude, Love is Blind, couple number 2, better get it together.
Look,
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. Love is
Obviously,
Blind,
be
I'm going to say is not bueno. Sorry, guys. I don't want to be the person to say it, but maybe not the best to watch it. Also, I just think the concept is doomed to fail. It's like, of
For
course,
Love is Blind?
of course, like 5 out of the 6 couples always end up breaking up because that whole system is just a joke.
Do you think there's such thing as like positive or good gossip, or is gossip always a negative?
Is that from the saying, any publicity is good publicity?
I didn't get it from that. I was just thinking about it, but that's a good reference, yeah.
Well, I would say this. If you have friends who are building you up, which is what I think was Ephesians 4:29 was saying, that's the whole point, right? Like if someone's talking about Vic, they're like, hey, how's Vic? I'm like, Vic loves the Lord. And she's reading her Bible and she's a part of my Bible study. She is trying, her best with prayer and everything. Please pray for her. Like, these are the prayer requests she asked me. Why don't you pray along with me? That's the type of stuff I feel like I wouldn't call it gossip. I would say more so like we're edifying each other in the spirit.
I think the opposite of gossip is intentional honor. I think it's like honoring people, and that's what this would be. Like when you're talking about others or having conversations about other people, but it's like, wow, I just want to honor them, or like, like represent them well. I think that's like the opposite of kind of what we're talking about. So that's, I guess, an encouragement for us to engage in intentional honor.
Yeah, those are some great points. I think you guys covered a lot of things. I think we all covered a lot of things. If there was anything that you guys feel we missed or need clarification on, please put a comment down below. We'd love to answer them. But before we end this episode, you guys already know what time it is. It's hot take time with Tati. Tati, take it away.
I'm doing one, like, this one's more New Year's oriented, just because it's coming up. So, do you think that New Year's resolutions are overrated?
Yep.
It
I can
depends what
tell
it
you,
is.
one of my goals this year was to learn to make bread, and it's November 20th, and I haven't done that.
Vic,
I haven't
actually,
I haven't even made a cupcake. I haven't come anywhere
my
close.
parents just bought a bread machine, and last week I spent 3 days making bread. I made like 5 different things.
But hear me out. Does it make a bread bowl?
The cool thing about the bread machine is it could still like make the dough for you. So even if you don't want to like heat it up there, you can still make the dough. And then you can make a bread bowl.
Look, all I'm saying is this. If you're setting yourself a goal that you haven't already completed and you're saying, I'm just going to do it next year, like, it's probably not going to happen. But if you're setting yourself a vision, like, this is what the Lord has placed on my heart for my life, I think it's more than doable. So I'm 50-50.
My opinion is, I think it's good to self-evaluate. I think it's good to have goals. I think it's good to have dreams. I don't think January 1st needs to be that timeline, and I think sometimes with giving yourself 365 days to accomplish a task is a recipe for failure, because people need smart goals, like in the sense of, hey, in January, I want to do this, or February. That would be my recommendation to people if they find that year after year they're not accomplishing anything, is checking in on yourself every month and being like, hey, is this what I want to do? And maybe refrain from making your list like 35 different things that you're trying to do for the first time that are new in a certain year, but maybe like tack it on. Like, I go to the gym once a week already. I wanted to go to the gym twice a week. That's easy because you're already establishing that habit and you're growing from it and then checking on it yourself. But yeah, I think everyone's is always get healthy, go to the gym, and you see people at the gym for the first 2 weeks of January and then never again. So it is important to stick with it and do check-ins with yourself, is what I would say as an encouragement.
Should Christmas music start before Thanksgiving or after?
I usually start August 1st.
I say in July. No, there are some times in the summer where I'm just feeling it. I just want to listen to some tunes at random times of the year. So I'm here for it at all times.
I say after Thanksgiving, just because the songs can get a little repetitive. And if I keep hearing the same song over and over,
Mariah Carey.
I feel like the Christmas spirit gets sucked out of me. I feel like the Grinch. So I want to take my time. So after is better.
Is Mariah Carey the Queen of Christmas?
No, Elvis, baby. Elvis Presley.
Did you guys see that meme where it was like Mariah Carey's defrosting and it's huge, her inside of a huge ice cube thing?
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Like, she's gearing up to sing. That's funny though. Excited for the holidays. Should be fun.
What is everyone's favorite TV drama to watch?
Lincoln Lawyer.
Lincoln Lawyer.
I'll be honest, I don't watch TV anymore.
Juan and I have been on a Lincoln Lawyer binge. If anyone knows about that show, we skip some parts, but let us know if you guys watch that, because I love it for some reason. I'm obsessed.
Okay, a drama. What do you define as a drama? Like, does Harry Potter count as a drama?
No, that would be like an action.
I think you mean
or
reality
adventure.
TV.
Reality
Reality
TV?
Yeah, we'll say reality drama
Do
TV
sports
show.
count as reality TV? Because when you see Stephen A. Smith on
No.
ESPN,
They're not
he
drama,
gets pretty
they're
dramatic.
sports.
The Golden Bachelor.
Okay, Golden Bachelor, pretty good, not gonna
You
lie.
guys, I already saw the ending, and the guy from Reno lost. Spoiler alert, sorry guys.
Juan,
Juan, I'm pretty sure that was like the 5 seasons ago.
No, the Golden Bachelorette. I think it was this season.
Oh, we got another guy from Reno?
Yes, but he got
I'm
last.
watching it just for
Spoiler
the Reno
alert,
guy.
everyone! Spoiler alert.
Alrighty, guys. Well, hey, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. We love you guys. Have an amazing weekend or week or whatever day of the week that you decide to watch us. We're praying for you guys. We're so happy you're part of the community, and we will catch you next week. Bye.